I'm attorney Justin Clark. Coming up ahead on You Have Real Estate, home insurance prices up, property taxes up, solar will keep your expenses low. Also, eminent domain, the government's going to come take your house. What do? I'll tell you. Coming up just ahead on You Have Real Estate.
If you've been threatened by the IRS, you're not helpless. I'm attorney Justin Clark. You have the power to fight wage garnishments and to fight levies on your account. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your life.
This is a special offer from IQ Power Solar.
Stop paying high electric bills with a solar power system from IQ Power Solar. And now it's never been easier. IQ Power Solar can give you immediate electric bill relief right now when you go solar. IQ Power Solar will reimburse you for your very next electric bill. Plus, if you're a first responder, IQ Power Solar will pay your program payment for the rest of the year. Call 407-585-1018 now or visit iqpowersolar.com.
And welcome to You Have Real Estate with me, attorney Justin Clark. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, seasoned investor, or even looking to sell your house, this next 30 minutes is designed just for you. Think of it like hitting multiple open houses, all from your living room, but with my attorney advice throughout the way. If you have any questions whatsoever during the program, I have people standing by to answer them right now. The phone number's on the screen, 407-205-0400. Maybe you want to start that house hunt for your dream home in this competitive market. You will have to get a pre-approval. Dallas Lehman with You Have Mortgages standing by to get you pre-approved today. Same phone number, 407-205-0400. Great show for you today. You will not want to miss a single minute. But first, the opening statement. You know, I've been traveling the Southeast here lately, Tennessee, the panhandle of Florida, throughout Florida, really, even some time in Georgia just over the last couple weeks. And the word on the street all throughout the Southeast is the exact same. It is, we have the most competitive housing market in our lifetime. Whether you're in Florida or Tennessee or Georgia, people are listing their houses and it's going under contract within hours. It's not just a Florida thing. This is a full-blown Southeast, even Texas thing. And we're selling over market price. We're selling over asking price right now for these houses. So it leads to the question, what do you do? Because you have to live somewhere. So you sell your house, make a profit. What are you going to do, rent? Well, what I found is a lot of people are deciding to stay. And there are three things that you must know if you decide that you're going to stay in your home right now as opposed to sell it. Three things that I think you must do. Number one, you have to look at a refinance. You have to look at what the prevailing mortgage rates are right now and figure out if you should refinance or not. You have to do that. It's a no-brainer. Here's what you're going to find. Property taxes and homeowners insurance up. So half of that PITI is going up. It's going to happen. The values are going up. So of course, the taxes are going to go up. Of course, homeowners insurance premium is going to go up. So how do you lessen that PITI? It's by reducing the principal and interest. But also, I think it's time to upgrade your house to solar right now because electricity rates also are going to keep going up forever. If you go solar, you don't care. You're not paying the electric company anymore. You're paying just your solar bill. Along with that, if you're going to stay, it's absolutely time when you go solar to look at roofing and AC as well, because that's going to affect the value of your house. And third, I think you got to look at this water filtration system like we've been talking about here with Carter Water here over the last few weeks. Those are the things to do. But other things that you need to be aware of, we're going to answer. And we're going to do so by asking real questions. Every Saturday here on You Have Real Estate, we ask real questions to the truly trend-setting people in Central Florida's real estate community. Honored to be joined today by Stephen Bader, the COO of IQ Power Solar, who will join me in just a minute. And for the first time, Rick Dreggers is here, a forensic appraiser. Rick, welcome to the show. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Justin. Thanks for having me.
So, forensic appraising. We know what an appraiser is. We know that if you're buying a house, your mortgage company makes you go get an appraisal. It costs $400 or $450. Forensic appraiser. What does that mean exactly?
Well, it's similar, but it's very different. Forensic appraising, my clients are typically lawyers, governmental agencies.
Sorry.
Yeah, thanks
for the lawyer part. That is. Go ahead. I'm
true.
sorry.
You are a lawyer. So that's the type of clients I work with, and it's not mortgage appraising is similar principles and practices. We use similar techniques, but our clients are a lot different and the scope of work is varied.
So at what point in time, I'm getting a divorce, let's say, okay? And the judge is splitting up the house, but we can't agree on what it's worth. Is that a forensic appraisal or is that something different?
The appraisal is actually very similar to a type of mortgage appraisal, but I am prepared to go into court and defend the value opinion in front of a judge or a jury, go through cross-examination, have my deposition taken in order to defend my appraisal valuation.
We hear about eminent domain quite a bit, or maybe you don't hear about eminent domain. The government has an absolute right, well, they have a right to come and take your property under very detailed circumstances. But then you can fight over the value, I guess. Does forensic appraising come into play with eminent domain?
It does. Eminent domain is a subset of forensic appraising, and a large part for my particular practice.
So what is eminent domain anyway? When can a government come take my property?
Eminent domain basically is the power of the government to take your property for a public purpose. They have to provide the necessity to show that they need your property. They have to have the steps that you talked about, all the steps. And as a part of that, they also must make you an offer for the value of your property, either part of it or all of it, depending on how much they need.
This is fascinating. This happens quite a bit, maybe even more than you would think about it. What's a situation where you see a government come in and try to buy up a bunch of houses or a whole neighborhood? Is it for road building? Is it for building a convention center? When do they typically do this?
It's for both. Interstate 4, if everybody lives here in Central Florida, there's been a lot of right-of-way acquisitions, eminent domain appraisal work on I-4, and some of that has included entire blocks of neighborhoods, usually for a regional stormwater retention area.
So let's say that the government comes in and I say my house is worth 200 grand. They come in and say it's worth 150 grand. How do we hammer this out? Who decides?
Well, in Florida, you're fortunate if you're going to have your property taken, because in Florida, you're allowed as a property owner to retain an attorney like yourself, and also that a lawyer can retain an appraiser to review the offer and the documents, mainly the appraisal report, that establish that offer in your example of 150,000 or so. And then we will go in, and if we look at updated comps, as we know we're in a very appreciating market, values are really trending upward. And so oftentimes just by updating the comparable sales, if it's a single family home, there will be a difference in value because the appraisal report the offer was made on could have been 9 months to a year ago.
And so what are you seeing right now? Because I've been sitting here talking on TV for months now that this is the hottest real estate market I've seen in my lifetime, possibly ever. How are you keeping up with the values of properties right now in your world?
We're doing a lot of updates. I get clients that'll ask me to look at a parcel, and then 3 or 4 months later, like, Rick, we know the market's been appreciating. Please update the data. And we look at a lot of listings. We're finding, as you probably already know, that a lot of properties are selling above list price and are on the market for just 3 or 4 days before they go under contract.
Unbelievable. I don't want to ask more about that. Here's what I want to do, Rick, though. Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, I'm going to bring in Stephen Bader. He's a COO of a solar company called IQ Power Solar, because he and I believe, because I went solar, and we really think that going solar does positively impact the value of my house and your house as well. And let's talk about that together as You Have Real Estate continues.
Thanks, Justin. Just the other day, we closed a 15-year, 1.75% refinance. You still have the opportunity for your historic rate. Let's talk today. Your pre-approval is always free, and there's never an application fee. Own your home and don't throw another dollar away on rent. My name is Dallas Lehman. I'm here every Saturday to help tailor your best loan scenario. Let's get started. Just call me today, 407-205-0400. Your Under One Roof team is always here for you.
Welcome back to the show. Pleased to be joined by my good buddy, the COO of IQ Power Solar, Stephen Bader. Long time no see, buddy. How you been?
I know. Good.
Meet Rick Dreggers, by the way, forensic appraiser. I always want to say accountant, but appraiser, obviously. So, Steve, here's what I'm seeing out there. Property values obviously way up for residential homes, commercial as well, to be honest with you. But as these property values go up, what people aren't seeing yet, or you're starting to see on the homeowners insurance side, is rates are up. But what you're going to see is property taxes are going to go way up as well. 4 components to your monthly payment: PITI, principal, interest, taxes, insurance. What's not included in those 4 prongs really is your electricity bill. The electricity bill is kind of the 5th prong of your monthly expenses. And what I did through IQ Power Solar, a year and a half ago now, as we know, is I went solar, thereby reducing my $500 a month electricity bill to $50 or $75 per month, saving money. So what I think people out there are going to have to understand is if they want to keep their monthly expenses for their home somewhere where they are now, something's going to have to give because taxes are going to go up. Insurance, it's going to go up. It already is. It's going to happen. How can solar help me lower my monthly expenditure on my home?
Well, honestly, if your average electric bill is $300, we usually get that to a target outcome of about $20 a month. Another thing that should be considered is more than 95% of our systems installed, they can increase your property homeowner's insurance because we stay under that tier mark. And also they cannot increase your property taxes based on a solar property value increase. So it kind of helps you knock off the expense of electricity without increasing any of the other, prongs, as you said.
I made up the term prong. I don't think they normally call them prongs.
It
Well,
sounded
I didn't say it very clearly or eloquently anyway. But Rick, it brings me to you here. So on the side of forensic appraising, then I know for a fact that if someone comes into my neighborhood, if I'm selling my home, my neighbor has an electricity bill of $500 a month, provable over the last 2 years. Mine provable is $50 a month. Just common sense alone tells me that someone's willing to pay more for my house because my electricity bill is so much less. That has to be true, doesn't it?
Common sense is correct. It is. And they would. And we do make adjustments as appraisers for energy efficiency and energy efficient components to your home.
Is that right? And energy efficiency is what you guys do. Whenever you first came out, and I know we've talked about this before, but I was wondering why IQ Power Solar was in my attic and in my walls and things. I thought you were just going to go to my roof, put some of those glass-looking things, whatever they're called, on my roof, and that's it. That is not what you do at IQ Power Solar.
Well, what he just said should not be understated. He said they make adjustments for energy efficiency, etc. Now, the biggest argument and the reason that most consumers don't understand that solar increases your home value is because what we might sell for $35,000, another company sells for $55,000. Now, just because your home value doesn't go up based on your contract price, it goes up based on the outcome, the energy efficiency. So if it's a $55,000 system that saves you $300 a month and a $35,000 system saves you $300 a month, you're going to end up with probably a $34,000 to $36,000 home value increase.
Yeah.
So if you paid 55 and you got a 30, you're like, oh, I lost 20 grand. It was wrong. No, it wasn't wrong. You purchased wrong. So
I couldn't agree more with that. And Rick, it brings me to you as well. How do you go from regular appraiser to being a forensic appraiser? What is there? Are there certain classes you have to take, or how does that transition go?
I was fortunate. I got into this in 1987 when I graduated from FSU. 2 weeks after I graduated, never even heard of forensic appraising, but the gentleman who hired me had been doing it for many years here in Florida, and started 2 weeks after I graduated, and I've been doing it since May of '87. So I'm in my 34th year. That's all I've ever done. To answer your question, there's a lot of classwork, but a lot of it just comes with experience and your ability to testify in front of a judge, jury, to have your deposition taken, and be able to defend your opinion.
And I mean, people fight you sometimes on values of homes, saying, well, solar doesn't really affect the value. I mean, you might would need someone like Rick at some point to actually, hey, Rick's not just an appraiser, he's a forensic appraiser,
Yeah, so, I mean, I was just, in my head, I'm making a joke, like, you have to be good at it. So, no, because, I mean, I've had a lot of appraisers, come across me, like, and to be fair, they're not all familiar with this. They're not all that experienced. But the value with someone like Rick is he's not just filling out a report and sending it somewhere. He's putting his name on it. And what he's saying is, I'm willing to argue this. If my name is on this, I'll argue it in front of a judge, right? Yeah. Think of how profound that is compared to just, this is what it's worth.
Without question. But today, the theme of the show, basically saving money monthly on your house expenditures. When you do go solar, like I did, my house value went up. But what did that do to my property taxes?
Nothing.
It can't. Your property taxes, by law, because the government wants you to go solar because it's good for the environment, will not allow your property value or your property taxes to increase. So it's a no-lose situation. And lastly, Steve, and I've thanked you for this a million times, I was literally going to do my tax returns last year and stroke a check for $10,000. Literally, here you go, Department of Revenue. I was stroking it, and I forgot that I did solar that tax year, filed the form that I got. I paid nothing to the IRS, nothing to the IRS. So solar is an absolute must-do for those of you who want to stay in your house right now. How does this IRS thing work? I know you're not an accountant and all that stuff, but how does it work?
Well, the IRS, the ITC, the investment tax credit, is a dollar for dollar credit. Right now it's at 26%, but it's basically a dollar for dollar credit against every dollar you spend in solar. So if you spend $30,000 with solar, you're going to get 26% of that, which is roughly $7,800 tax credit. So you're paying for it anyway.
Right.
I mean, it's basically, hey, you gave us this money. This is ours. It belongs to the IRS. If you show me a contract that says you bought solar, we'll surrender it back to you. Or you're paying for it anyway. So it's kind of a no-brainer. It's silly.
So Rick does a lot of work with people in situations regarding eminent domain. You know what eminent domain is? When the government comes in and says, oh, we're going to take your house because we're building a basketball facility or whatever. And the weird thing about eminent domain sometimes is they come in and say, oh, my house is getting taken by eminent domain, and you expect them to have a frown. They're actually happy sometimes. I mean, do you ever see someone, it really works out for them when the government takes their house?
Occasionally it does.
Yeah.
I've seen it a few times. I've also had clients crying in front of me because their mortgage is greater than the value of their home, and they're going to be homeless, and they're going to still owe money to the bank. And so I've seen it both ways. But in Florida, you are fortunate because in Florida, you are, under our Constitution, of full compensation, allowed to retain a lawyer, retain an appraiser to review at the minimum the work that the other appraiser and other attorneys have done at no cost to you with some limitations. So it doesn't cost you anything, at least initially, to have someone look over your information.
I wish they'd come eminent domain my wife's car or something right now. You know what I mean? Do they do that with cars? Probably not, right?
Doesn't happen.
That stinks. Eminent domain. How often does this happen? Is this something that is incredibly rare, or is this happening more than you would think?
Well, we happen to be in Florida.
Yeah.
And as we all know at this table, we're one of the fastest growing states in the entire country. We've got over 1,500 people a day, I believe, moving to Florida. And we have a backlog of road work. Mainly, the roads are clogged. Interstate 4 is a great example. They're getting that done. And I think they've done a great job of managing that process because unlike building the Wekiva Expressway out west where it was a lot of virgin land, that's a little easier. But when you're in downtown Orlando, you have to maintain traffic and also widen the interstate. It's a very complicated process. There's a lot of it going on.
Let's say I'm in that second row of houses where they're expanding I-4. So used to, I had a nice, quiet, calm yard. Now they did eminent domain on that front row of houses, took it. Now I am literally on I-4, probably decreasing the value of my house. Am I SOL there? Is there anything I can do, you think?
You hear it all the time from clients and owners about that. Fortunately, the Florida Department of Transportation has been doing a lot of sound walls on Interstate 4, which reduce that noise. That's a relatively new thing I've only seen in the last 15 or 20 years. And in my world, that's relatively new, as old as I am. But you're probably not going to be able to make a claim because if they don't touch some part of your property with the road project, you're probably not going to be able to make a claim.
Do these cases generally work out, or are they going to trial? Yeah, so I'm a lawyer, as you know. So is it like 95% of cases don't go to a jury trial. We settle at mediation or whatever. Of course, sometimes we fight it out. What's the percentage like with eminent domain cases in regards to resolution with the government?
That 95% is a number I tell clients all the time. About 95% of these will get resolved without going to a jury trial.
And what percentage, you have to use an exact percentage, but the government comes in and offers me 150. If I fight back, am I generally going to get more?
It depends.
Talk about
It depends. I mean, I can't guarantee any results, obviously, but you definitely want someone to look at it because, again, in an appreciating market like we are for almost every property type, just the passage of time will likely result in an increase in value.
How often does the government come in and lowball me?
They will tell you they never lowball you, and sometimes they do a great job. There's a lot of times we don't ever write an appraisal report because we've looked at the information and find out it's not that bad.
Really?
Yeah.
I would think that, wouldn't you think the government would come in and just lowball you every time, and then you got to fight back and go through the whole charade? That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
No?
I mean, I'm familiar with the whole concept, and but I'm really not knowledgeable enough to offer an opinion on this one. This is Rick's territory.
Well, I'm glad that Rick does agree with you and I, because you and I have talked about it we've been talking solar now for over 2 years together on this television show. And we were worried at the beginning that we were going to have real estate agents and appraisers come in here and say, oh, just because you put solar on your house, it doesn't help the value at all. I think what we found, Steve, and I don't know if it's you and I, teaching the real estate community or if the real estate community is keeping up, most people come in here and say that they agree that solar is helping the value of their house.
Well, at this point, I mean, I don't even see how anyone would have the gall to negotiate the concept. We've been on here with the property appraiser of Seminole County.
Yeah, that's
We've
right.
been on here with the property appraiser of Orange County.
Yeah.
These are elected officials that do the work. We've been on here, with Rick now. He's a forensic appraiser. I mean, if you still want to argue that, then you should probably come on the show and just get embarrassed.
Who do you think is the slowest to catch on? And again, we have a lot of realtors that watch the show. We love the real estate community here, but is it taking more time for the local agents to understand the concept and the value of solar?
No, actually, we haven't really had a single client that sold their house that had negative feedback. We were on here actually with Andrea Rickheim that bought solar from us in 2016 when I think she was a nurse. She called us back in 2019, had a new house, bought solar again, and then she came on the show and talked about how she got $20,000 to $25,000 value increase. But no, I hear about it. You hear people saying, oh, this and that, but no data really indicates that. Everyone that we know that sold their house has gotten their value.
Yeah, sometimes you think that I'm just talking to Steve because we know each other. I have solar on my house, and I'm so happy that I do. I have solar through IQ Power Solar. Go to my house. Oh, you know what? Better yet, watch the TV commercial for him. My house is actually on his TV commercial, or at least one of them.
There'll be 200 people outside your house.
Yeah, right. No, please. It's a gated community. You can't get in. You have solar on your house.
Absolutely.
I wonder where you got it.
IQ Power.
And it's just a no-brainer. I love IQ Power Solar. They come in, they do a full analysis of the energy efficiency of your home. And what better time of year? You know how these electric bills skyrocket right now. Like, we dread July and August because of how much we have to pay for our electricity bill. If not that, we're fighting with our wives and daughters and sons because they want to turn it down to 68. And look, it's not that comfortable at night going to bed when it's hot there. When you go solar, you don't have to worry about that. I'm going to have Steve prove it to you. Here's the phone number, 407-205-0400. Absolutely free consultation with him right away. He'll come in and tell you exactly what IQ Power Solar can do. Thank you, Steve. You're going to stick around for the Real Estate Roundtable, I hope.
Sure.
All right, awesome. Now, Rick Dreggers, forensic appraiser to the stars. Who calls you? Who is your perfect client?
Well, I've been doing this 34 years, so I'm pretty well known throughout the state of Florida. So I get calls from a lawyer. I've got a client that's losing their home or part of their home or shopping center. Please look over the information. We'll send it to you. I also do work for the governmental agencies, and they'll contact me and ask me, we're getting ready to widen a road or we need to acquire land for a park, utility system, and they will contact me. So my clients generally are lawyers and governmental agencies, and we have been doing this long enough. I'm pretty selective about who I can choose to work with.
That's a good feeling.
They're all perfect clients.
It's a good feeling to have in business, isn't it?
Yes,
You don't have to take them all.
Correct.
Awesome. Rick, great job today. Can you stick around for a few minutes as well?
I'd be happy to.
And without further ado, it's time for your portion of the program. It's time for the Real Estate Roundtable. Every Saturday here on the TV show, I answer your questions from throughout the week. Here's what you do during the week. Go to our Facebook page. You have real estate. Ask me a question right there. We might just answer it next week here on the TV show. Start with Sam in Tampa. Love watching the show on Facebook. Thank you, Sam. We appreciate you watching us on Facebook. I want to get solar, but my roof is old. Should I do the roof before solar? That's you, Stephen Bader.
Well, we have a super cool solar roof combo program where we can do it at the same time. And we can actually get you a solar tax credit on a good portion of the roof as well, because it's being replaced to support solar. So definitely makes sense to do them together. We can get you insanely low financing, as low as 1.49%.
And this is for the roof too.
Yeah, included. Like, we have clients that have gotten rid of a $300 bill with a new roof, no money up front, and pay less than $250 a month.
Think about that. Think about you need a new roof right now, and you're going to get a roof and solar and still pay less per month than you are just paying to the big bad electric company. It's almost a no-brainer.
Doesn't always work out like that, but 9 times out of 10, yeah, it's definitely a no-brainer. What's the alternative?
Well, I mean, I got an AC out of my whole deal too. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it, but I mean, I wrapped all the AC and everything up with my solar as well.
No comment.
Am I allowed? Okay, it might have been another. I don't know. I don't know who the AC company.
No,
is.
we take good care of. We measure twice, cut once. We take care of all of our clients, and
Allison in Maitland. Hello, Allison. How are you? What types of financing are offered in the solar world?
We have very good financing. The average financing is 15, 20, 25 years. But again, the target with solar is if you're saving $200 a month, if we can get you a program with no money down that's the same or less than what you're saving, it's a no-brainer. So,
Sarah in Ocala up in Marion County. Hello, Sarah. How are you? What gives the government the right to take my property? What do you think, Rick?
It comes from the U.S. Constitution and the Florida Constitution.
Pretty big deals, I guess.
That's where it stems from. But it has to be for a public purpose.
What is a public purpose? What does that mean, you think?
It has to be a road, a park, utility lines, power lines, those types of things.
And can they take part of my property? Can they come in and just take some of my land, leave the house?
They do it all the time. That's
really?
actually more common than the whole taking of your property. And that's where a lot of times we have big disagreements between the value of the part they took and what's the value of your land or your home after. If you're on a quiet country road and they put a 4 or 6 lane highway in your front yard, I think most people would understand that that may have an impact on the value of your home.
Absolutely. Rick Dreggers, great to see you, brother. Thanks for coming in, man.
Enjoyed it.
Really good stuff. Eminent domain. The government's coming to take your house. I think Rick is your guy. Stephen Bader, as always, thank you for what IQ Power Solar and really you did for me. I love going into the summer months and not worried about a $500 bill. I love not writing a check to the IRS last year. And I just love the fact that I know my house is, my kind of older house now is energy efficient. Thank you, buddy.
of course.
I appreciate you. 407-205-0400. You need to go solar, ladies and gentlemen. I assure you it's the way to go. Thank you for joining me today, by the way. If you want to get pre-approved, Dallas Lehman standing by right now. 407-205-0400. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Don't forget Best of Central Florida Sunday at noon. I'm attorney Justin Clark, and I'll see you next week on You Have Real Estate.
Just in case you haven't heard lately, mortgage rates are at historic lows. In my entire career, I have never seen them dip this low. Now may be your best time to own your dream home and stop throwing your hard-earned money away on rent, refinance to a lower rate to save money on your monthly mortgage payment, or pay off high-interest credit card and other debt. My name is Dallas Lehman, president of You Have Mortgage. No one knows when rates will begin to climb again, but they will and can go back up quickly. Call me today so we can tailor your historic rate and program. Our premier Under One Roof team is here to provide our very best for you.
Do you want to feature your home for free on our show? My name is Vivian Lehman with You Have Realty, and we've come up with a comprehensive marketing strategy to get your home sold quickly. Whether buying or selling, we have all the resources for your real estate transaction: builder, insurance, title, mortgage, and we might even know Justin Clark. All under one roof. Call us at 407-205-0400.
Hey Central Florida, it's Carter Burks here with Carter Water Home Solutions. Have you ever noticed how your water may have a smell to it or a bad taste? Well, that's not how water's supposed to be. It should be tasteless and odorless. It should be clear. And at Carter Water, we're here to help you find a way to make it that way. You can go to carterwater.com, request a free water test. No obligation, no pressure. For your no-cost, no-obligation water test, give us a call today at 407-205-0400 or go to carterwater.com. We'll be happy to come by.